and get things started. Go ahead, Stephen. Dan, it is your show now.
Perfect. And Willis, just to confirm, we've got 15 minutes or so we want to keep this contained within, correct?
Yeah, I always like to say the most important thing that our agents can do is be out there in the world helping people buy and sell real estate. So I don't want to distract them any longer than I have to, but, you know, make sure you deliver your message. I think they can always opt out as things go along.
Yep. No, perfect. And again, thanks everybody for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us here today. And again, my name is Steve Stebbins. I manage a team working with our large strategic brokers in the western part of the United States, and Dan Gowd's one of my associates on the line as well. So we look forward to getting to know you better as we progress through this. So today's real focus, I wanted to spend some time, talk a little bit about realtor.com, just what is it and what makes us a little bit different, and what are some of the opportunities that get created as a result of the solution that you can take advantage of. So just briefly to kind of describe our portal and digital advertising as it pertains to us is we get feeds from all the MLSs across the country that feed into our portal. The updates that happen on our portal happen every 15 minutes. So you make a change in the MLS, that's going to be represented on our site in 15 minutes. We continue to work closely with National Association of Realtors, and the content that's on our site, one of the things that does differentiate it is because of the relationships with MLSs across the country, 97% of all existing homes listed for sale are on our site. One thing that does differentiate us as well is there are no for sale by owners on our site. It's strictly properties that are listed by an agent and a brokerage that are posted onto our site and controlled through the MLS. With the acquisition by News Corp here a couple of years ago, it brought a number of benefits to this organization, and one of which is that if you go to Wall Street Journal Online or Barron's, which are News Corp properties, you'll find a link on those sites where we try to bring traffic from those sites over onto realtor.com. So your content remains on our site, but we try to bring traffic over to that site from a variety of means. You've probably seen the advertising that we do with Elizabeth Banks, a variety of different pay-per-click programs, a variety of different ways that we're bringing traffic to our site and work to engage that traffic and keep them active on our site. Today, there's over 55 million unique monthly users coming to our site, and this number's more than doubled over the last couple of years. Or excuse me, it's almost doubled over the last 3 years. What does differentiate it is that the traffic that's coming on our site is staying there for a long time, and they're looking at a lot of different properties. One of the biggest aspects of our solution that's drawn the traffic is our mobile environment. If you don't have the mobile app installed on your phone, I highly encourage you to do it. Great technology that we're adding into this. We just added some capabilities around iMessage that you can work within the application to connect with your buyers and sellers. You're going to continue to see evolution of that application, because today over 50% of our traffic is actually using that mobile device in their research of properties. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things that does make us different is that the people that are coming to our site, they stay on it longer and they look at more pages. So they're not coming to just look how much their property's worth or how much their neighbor's property's worth. They're actually coming to investigate properties to either buy or do an investigation to assist them in some level of analysis around either picking a realtor or listing their property. So the traffic that's on our site is engaged. We continue to put content on the site that brings people back to investigate and become more educated, so that when they do get to that point where they want to start to begin to work with a realtor, we've done some of the groundwork to educate them, so that now when you start working with them, they're going to be more attuned to the buying and selling process, so that you'll be able to be more efficient in that dialogue. A good portion of the consumers on our site are very affluent. That many have multiple properties. They're in their high earning years. Many of them have college or post-college degrees. So it's an educated, affluent audience that's on our site. And one of the things that most people don't know is when a listing does come through on our site, it actually gets converted into 12 different languages and made available on through other languages in other portals, so that people around the globe have access and can look at that property. And we know a good portion of the money coming into the U.S. to buy property is going to places like Chicago, for example, and through either the syndication process that we provide to translate that listing into other languages, or through realtor.com/international. There's a broader reach of folks that we have access to and are bringing into the site to view properties that you have listed, or to engage with as potential buyers. Last year, in the National Association of Realtors annual survey of buyers and sellers, a question was put in there, a couple questions actually, where they found their realtor and where they found their property, and the number one response that came back was realtor.com. So net, it's an affluent set of folks that we have coming to the site, and the bottom line result is those that actually enter into a transaction, the number one source that they say that they have found their property or their agent is through realtor.com. So we're going to be talking to you this in greater depth about this next week as we do some in-person meetings, but I just wanted to introduce you briefly into some of the options that have become available on realtor.com for you. So whether you pay us any money or not, exclusively, if you have a listing, you are the only agent that's put on that listing. We don't put somebody else's name or picture on that listing. It's exclusively got your name. It's exclusively got your brokerage. The information down here, and we're working with Willis on this. I know this is really hard for some of you to see, but over here on this mobile device, there's a way to connect with your profile. There's a way to reach in and make contact with phone number. And also at the bottom of this listing, there's contact information, and again, an ability to reach into the agent. So if you claimed your profile on realtor.com, this is going to be a hot link. It's going to take them right over your profile. So you want to make sure that that's done, because that way somebody can get a hold of you, and you're going to get traffic off of that at no cost. There's no investment required at all. And about 15 to 20% of our total traffic actually comes through this section of the what we call the listing detail page, whether somebody clicks through over to the website or clicks through to the agent themselves. The next level, for those of you that have listings, you have an ability, if you'd like to make sure that you've got more prominent branding on that particular listing, and if any of the lead forms are filled in, that those lead forms are going to go directly to you or whoever you designate. So you have an ability to invest, and these are done customized based on your listing volume, to get all the leads that come in off of your listings. The other option is frequently, folks are just focused on listings. They don't care that much about leads. We provide an option where somebody can just invest in leads, and we obviously want to make sure that the inquiries that come in when folks have decided not to invest, they get handled by someone. So we have a program called Connection for Buyers, and we group up and provide leads by zip codes, and there's several different forms we'll elaborate on a little bit more this next week. But there's different sizes. They're done by zip code, and you can invest in leads and inquiries that come in associated with folks that are investigating properties. For those of you that have listings, we also have an option called Turbo, which when someone puts in a search, say they put in a search for $450,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in a particular zip code, and you've got a listing that conforms to that criteria, what Turbo will do will say there's 50 different homes that all match that criteria. Turbo pushes your listing up to one of the top 3 slots that would come up. So again, a way for you to differentiate in your listing presentations that, hey, here's something that I do to further promote your properties, and it's visibility on one of the most widely trafficked portals in the industry. In addition, we have what's referred to as our digital advertising program. This particular program is a program where you can put your brand in line of sight where folks that are looking for real estate are indeed looking. So in this, what we call the first page, or the search result page, so somebody's looking in Lisle, Illinois as an example, and you've invested in that zip code, then your branding information will show up in line of sight in that search. In the desktop version, there's a pull down in the corner, so there's some other attributes of it that we can explain to you further, but the idea is that you get visibility in a particular zip code area that you're focused, and your brand becomes visible. So this next week, we're going to be coming around to your various different offices. We'll be talking a little bit further about some of these offerings, and you'll have an exclusive opportunity during that time to either call or register to talk with one of our associates to further investigate a specific area that you'd like to use to go grow your business. And Dan and I look very much forward to meeting with you folks and sharing some of those further details. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Willis.
Great. Thank you so much. That was just about perfect. I've got a few questions that have come in before, but before I start to lose people during the Q&A, I just want to remind everybody that next Tuesday morning we'll be in Naperville doing a live presentation. Next Tuesday afternoon we'll be at the Glenbrook office. On Wednesday morning we will be in Barrington, and on Thursday morning we will be in Lincoln Park doing the regional presentations around this. So, I'll be there. Either Dan or Steve or both of them will be there to have a chance to really ask questions. But I did have a few that came in, and sometimes there are more that come in while we have the questions. I'm going to sort of try and group them together just for expedience sake. I hope I cover the what everyone was trying to get at, even if I've lumped your questions in a little bit more. So one person is asking where the buyer leads come from, and what is your process for handling them and distributing them. And it doesn't look like there's another question that's similar. I think they understand that they come from consumers looking for real estate on realtor.com, but more, where are they clicking, and what are you doing after they reach out?
Absolutely, yes. Thanks for that, and whoever asked the question. So this particular screen that I have up right now is an example of where that lead comes from. So when this form gets filled out, in this particular case, this is with an agent or brokerage that did not decide to enhance their listing and get all the leads off of them. When this form gets filled out, we package this up based on the location of the home and the zip code, and we'll distribute that lead to whoever's decided to invest in it. And we have 2 programs. They're either exclusive leads, meaning that that lead only goes to one person, or it's a shared lead and it goes to 2 people. Obviously, the one that's shared is less expensive. We're able to share the cost across a couple of folks. but you can invest in that on an exclusive basis as well. So in a particular zip code, there may be, just picking a random number, there may be 10 slots of zip codes that we create. We do a projection based on what we expect the number of leads to be generated over a period of time. And then as they actually come in, then we provide those to the individuals that invested in them, either in the exclusive format or shared format.
Great, and I'm trying to sort of incorporate another question that's also about, are they qualified at all? Are you guys calling them first in any way? I don't think so, but I just wanted to ask the question because, I have you guys here.
Yep. No, they are, we do not get in the middle of it, so we do some investigation. We make sure it's a valid phone number and a valid email. But beyond that, we then kind of get out of the way and pass that lead over to the professional to respond to it. And we do offer some solutions to help in managing those leads that we can talk about a little bit more, but in specific as it pertains to lead, those are directed over to you. The solutions we provide are technology solutions that enable you to kind of automate some of the responses and manage them.
Yeah, and I think some of our agents have heard me say that I think the 5 Street, which is the lead management system that you guys offer, is a great help. I think that's one of the tools you were talking about, right?
That's correct. Yeah, and we do a lot of investigation of kind of leads across the industry, and I don't have any of the stats in here right now, but there's far more leads being generated today than there are properties that will actually sell over the coming year. And the challenge is that, and we do this test across the country, I can assure you that between 50 and 80% of the leads that get generated, people actually don't even follow up on. So those of you that do want to differentiate yourself, and you get in front of this and you start following up on leads, it's a great way to differentiate yourself and take market share from others if it really gets the processes around responding to online leads.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the agents on the phone have heard me harp on that. You have to not only get back to them quickly, but over and over. So I've also got some questions on the turbo leads, or turbo listings, which I think is relatively new. One of them I can clarify. Yes, you said that the turbo listings is a product that brings the listing to the top of the search results. I think there was someone who was just a little incredulous, maybe because they're interested in that. But aside from bringing it, it brings it, if I hear you right, it brings it to the top 3 of the search results. And I just
one of the top three slots. So
right. And that's based on it matching the search criteria. So if, for example, somebody puts in a 2-bedroom and you have a 3-bedroom, it's not going to be in that search criteria. It's only if it still matches, right?
Yeah, it needs to be a relevant search because, again, we want to make sure that we keep the buyer engaged in the process. And if we're serving up stuff that they're really not interested in, then they certainly don't feel like they're getting an Amazon sort of experience. So we want to make sure we're delivering relevant, related content.
Absolutely. But so it'll stay there. So if, for example, sorry, I'm just trying to there were 3 or 4 questions. I'm trying to turn them into some kind of logical narrative. So if they're going through and they're searching down and they say, okay, I'm looking for 2+ bedrooms and, I'm looking between 500,000 and 700,000. And then your property matches in there, and then they change those criteria and your property still matches. It'll still stay up there as they whittle down through that criteria. It won't leave until they do something that the house doesn't match, right? It doesn't have enough car or garage spaces, or it doesn't have enough bathrooms, or something that it does not meet their criteria, right?
So you're now at a level of granularity I want to be careful. I am not sure of all the algorithms that go into that search, and I need to go ask a question, and I'll get an answer for that for this next week of kind of what the how that search gets managed and the relevancy of it. So I'll do some further investigation.
Cool, and I can help follow up with the person who asked that question.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
it, who asked specifically about that. So I think it's always better for you to acknowledge that you may not know the specifics than maybe be wrong, right? I'd rather find out the right answer a little bit later, and I think that's true
Yeah.
for our Baird Warner
I'm,
agent.
I'm sure somebody will test it. So.
Right, of course. We've got 2,000 agents, so that's always true. They'll find a way to catch us if we start making stuff up.
Yeah.
So I think the last question that came in from the folks out there is they can buy any of these things separately, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I hadn't asked that, but I was pretty sure that was true. And then I have a question, sort of a thing I just wanted to underscore and clarify for folks who are on the phone. We're going to be, as part of the automatic upload, making sure that that contact information he showed you, where they can reach out to you, is there and is accurate. That's part of what our automatic upload. But when you were saying that, I believe you said like 10 to 12% of leads actually come off that listing agent area, right?
Yeah, it's actually higher than that. It's between 15 and 20%. So it's an important area. You know, as people are really investigating properties, they do go down and look through that whole listing to figure out what's there, and they see the listing agent. They want to connect through to them. And the beauty is that connects, if you claim your profile, it connects through, and they can see more details about, you know, who you are, what your specialties are, your expertise. So the connection there goes right into your profile and with your contact information.
Right, which is why I like to tell, which is why we think it's so important that they should have a good profile. I think that number is sort of astounding in a good way, because it means that that both buyers and sellers are interested in talking to listing agents. That's a bedrock that we've believed in our industry for a long time, but it shows how important it is for agents to keep that profile up to date and make sure that they respond quickly to those leads when they do come through.